today, so thank you, Hutton Construction. They're probably outside. At this time, we will begin with the judicial branch.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, Committee. My name is Martin DeBoer, and I'll be presenting the capital improvements for the judicial branch. It is the first page behind the cover page on the gray piece of paper. So for FY24, they're requesting $350,000 in SGF for capital improvements. And these are the same two projects that were presented last year for FY24. You have the Judicial Branch Learning Center, so $50,000 for the Learning Center, and is intended to utilize an interactive learning environment that would provide visitors information about all three branches of government and their functions within the state government. The second project for FY24 is the Court of Appeals office space and lounge remodel. $300,000 in expenditures for a second phase of the project, which remodels existing space in the second floor for research attorneys and other staff. The space currently contains an attorney lounge with a meeting room. OJ has been working with the Department of Administration to develop plans for concentration and confidentiality with a shared workroom that preserves the efficiency and certain work processes. Stand for questions on FY24 or proceed to 25. All right, thank you, Madam Chair. In FY25, they have two projects totaling $350,000 FGF. The first one is the Judicial Branch Learning Center. This is the continuation of the FY24 projects, $50,000 for the center in FY25. The second project they have is the garden level reconfiguration. There's $300,000 in expenditures for reconfiguration of the garden level at the Judicial Center. The planned first phase will conclude reconfiguring the common area to accommodate the increased use of the Judicial Council committee members, schools, and other visitors to the Learning Center. Additionally, there will be two individual bathrooms and a shower, which will serve the Judicial Center, the garden level common area, and the gym. With that, we'll stand for questions on FY25.
Questions for Martin? I don't see any. All right, guess that's it. Thank you. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the judicial branch capital improvement budget. Sarah Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee recommend the capital improvements for the judicial branch as for FY 2024 and 2025 as presented.
I have a motion to have second by Representative Owsley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Our next item is Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs. Welcome.
Hi, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Molly Pratt. I'm a fiscal analyst with Legislative Research Department, and I'll be presenting the capital improvements for the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs Office. The agency's revised estimate in fiscal year 2024 includes $21.9 million, including $413,939 SGF for capital improvement projects. This is an all funds increase of $2.4 million or 12.3%, and an SGF increase of $176,959 or 74.7% above the fiscal year 2024 approved amount. Included within this is $21 million in SIBF funds for various capital improvement projects, including $17.2 million in SIBF for the new Northeast Kansas Veterans Home. And I would note that although the $17.2 million is appropriated for the construction of the new home, the agency won't know until later this spring whether the federal VA will approve funding for the project. The revised estimate also includes $3.6 million in SIBF for emergency repair and maintenance projects at both the Soldiers Home and the Veterans Home. Specific projects at the Veterans Home include upgrading the burner control on boiler and feed water equipment, installing new air-cooled chillers, replacing outside lighting, and remodeling the PETA and wing in the Bleckley Hall. Specific projects at the Soldiers Home include cottage painting, room conversion for a bariatric room, and generator replacement, makeup air unit, roof replacement, and a remodel of shower rooms in the Housley Hall. And finally, the revised estimate includes $413,939 SGF and $282,696 SIBF and $460,000 in federal grant monies for rehabilitation and repair projects at the veterans cemeteries. The federal grant monies would go toward a scattering garden wall and an expansion of the Columbarian Wall on Fort Dodge. The remaining funds would go toward the following projects, including road installation, a roof for storage, a new storage building on Fort Dodge, and committal shelter doors on Fort Dodge and at Waukene. In fiscal year 2024, the governor concurs with the revised estimate. Do you all have any questions on fiscal year 24?
Questions on 24? Continue, please.
The agency requests $3.3 million, including $201,980 SGF for capital improvements for fiscal year 2025. This is a decrease of $18 million or 85.1% and an SGF decrease of $211,959 or 51.2% below the fiscal year 2024 revised estimate. The decrease is primarily due to the agency not requesting monies for the construction of the new Northeast Kansas Veterans Home. The decrease is also due to the agency's belief that several projects, such as the installation of committal shelter doors at the two cemeteries, will be completed in fiscal year 2024. Included within the request is $2.9 million in SIBF for emergency repair and maintenance projects at both the Soldiers Home and Veterans Home. Emergency projects at the KVH include upgrading the infrastructure for the facility, whereas emergency projects at the Soldiers Home include an HVAC upgrade, pharmacy expansion, replacement of fire panels, and an IT infrastructure upgrade. Also included is $291,891 SGF for emergency repair and maintenance projects at the veteran cemeteries. For fiscal year 2025, the governor recommends $3.5 million, including $201,980 SGF for capital improvements. This is an SIBF increase of $600,000 or 18.3% above the agency's request, which is due to the governor's recommendation for the demolition of the junior officers' quarters and Watt Hall at the Soldiers Home on Fort Dodge. Do you all have any questions on fiscal year 2025?
Questions on 25? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. Representative Delford. Gonna let you make a motion. Just saying if you're prepared. All right, I have a motion. Second by Senator Reddy. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a state fair.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Luke Drury. I'm a senior fiscal analyst with Kansas Legislative Research Department. And on the lilac page in front of you are the capital improvements for the Kansas State Fair. The agency estimates revised capital improvement expenditures of $14.4 million, including $12.9 million SGF in FY 2024. This is an all funds increase of roughly $760,000 or 5.6% above the agency's approved amount. The increase is mostly attributable to $600,000 in ARPA funding for security lighting and cameras on the grounds of the state fair. This funding was appropriated by the 2023 legislature in FY 2023 and was transferred to the agency on June 15th of 2023. Subsequently, the agency added the funding to the 2024 revised estimate. The increase is also partially attributable to increased estimates for ongoing maintenance on the grounds of the state fair in 2024. The governor concurs with the agency's FY 2024 revised estimate for capital improvement projects. Madam Chair, I can stand for questions on 2024 or move to 2025.
24. Continue, please.
The agency requests capital improvement expenditures totaling $941,000, all from special revenue funds for FY 2025. This is a decrease of $13.5 million below the 2024 revised estimate. The decrease is entirely attributable to projects being completed in FY 2024 that will not be carried over into 2025. These decreases are partially offset by increased estimates for ongoing maintenance on the grounds of the state fair. And the governor concurs with the agency's 2025 request for capital improvements. And I can stand for any questions, Madam Chair.
Questions? 25. Seeing none, need a motion. Have a motion? Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee recommend the capital improvements for the state fair for FY 2024 and FY 2025 as presented.
Motion, do I have a second? Second by Representative Delperdang. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Or you got another one?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Continue, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, the green sheet in front of you is the capital improvement projects for the Department of Wildlife and Parks. For FY 2024, the agency estimates revised capital improvement expenditures of $32.2 million, including $2.5 million SGF. This is an all funds increase of $6.9 million, or 27.4% above the 24 approved budget. The increase is attributable to the agency supplemental request, but is partially offset by reduced estimates for park maintenance in 2024. Agency supplemental requests for capital improvement projects in 2024 include the following: El Dorado State Park Shower House, $200,000, all from special revenue funds. Flint Hills Trail Grant and Match, $3.3 million, all from special revenue funds. Flipping over onto the next page, Lehigh, Little Jerusalem, Canopolis, and Clinton Park projects totaling $3.5 million, all from federal funds. The governor recommends expenditures totaling $32.9 million, including $5.7 million SGF for capital improvement projects in 2024. This is an all funds increase of roughly $700,000, or 2.2%, including an SGF increase of $3.2 million, or 128% above the agency's revised estimate in 24. The SGF increase is attributable to the governor recommending adoption of a modified agency supplemental request. In 2024, the governor recommends $6 million, including $3 million SGF for the Flint Hills Trail Grant and Match. The $3 million from the SGF will represent the state's entire portion for the project. The recommendation retains the $3 million in federal highway planning and construction fund for the project, and deletes $300,000 from the parks fee fund for the project in 2024. The governor also recommends $200,000 SGF to replace the shower house at El Dorado State Park in FY 2024. The recommendation retains the agency's request to replace the shower house, but uses SGF monies rather than agency fee funds. The SGF increases are partially offset by the governor recommending a total of $4.2 million, all from special revenue funds, for fish and wildlife maintenance in FY 2024. This is a decrease of $2 million below the agency's revised estimate, and the adjustment would more closely align expenditures from the wildlife fee fund with projected revenues in FY 2024. Madam Chair, I can stand for questions, or I can move to 2025.
Questions on 24? Yes. Senator Clays.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You'll have this budget in Ways and Means. Will you be our fiscal analyst for this?
Madam Chair, Senator, I am the fiscal analyst that works with the Department of Wildlife and Parks. Yes.
I'm going to want through this process at some point some information, digging through their budget to find out where any educational programs or whatever they're going to call them, advertising, etc., is occurring regarding deer baiting. If you could get that for me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Other questions? Senator Reddy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't sure quite where to find this. Maybe it's in the next segment of your presentation. But for the Coast Guard access, it says 400,000 in 2024 and 600,000 in 2025. So when we say Coast Guard access, the definition, the item was characterized as funding to utilize, construction, maintain boathouses for storage of law enforcement vehicles. So are these mostly used for individuals? Law enforcement is there mainly for individuals that are using it for wildlife or parks and recreation purposes. I just wanted to know if that line item fits into wildlife and parks and rec.
Madam Chair, to answer the question, the funding is for those boathouses for the law enforcement vessels. I will have to dig a little bit further to identify where all those are located. Is the question where those are located on reservoirs or whatnot? I can dig a little bit further and I can get back with you regarding that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? All right, continue, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In FY 2025, the agency requests capital improvement expenditures of $33.2 million, including $200,000 from the SGF. This is an all funds increase of just under $1 million, or 3% above the 2024 revised estimate. The increase is primarily attributable to increased estimates for parks maintenance and the agency's enhancement requests. These increases are partially offset by reductions in other capital improvement project areas, including one-time supplemental requests for Lehigh, Little Jerusalem, Canopolis, and Clinton Parks in 2024 that do not reoccur in 2025. Agency enhancement requests for 2025 capital improvements include the following. Match for the federal grant land acquisition. This is $800,000, including $200,000 from the SGF. And the Flint Hills Trail grant and match, $3.8 million, all from special revenue funds. The governor recommends expenditures totaling $31.4 million, including $200,000 SGF for capital improvement projects for FY 2025. This is a decrease of $1.8 million, or 5.5%, all from special revenue funds below the agency's revised estimate. The governor recommends one agency enhancement request and a partial adoption of a second agency enhancement request for capital improvement projects. The governor recommends $800,000, including $200,000 SGF, to purchase a parcel of land adjacent to the Lovewell Wildlife Management Area in Jewell County. The governor also recommends partial adoption of the agency's enhancement request for the Flint Hills Trail grant and match. The governor recommends $3.5 million, all from the Federal Highway Planning and Construction Fund, to continue the development of the Flint Hills Trail. The recommendation deletes $300,000, flipping over to the next page, from the Parks Fee Fund from the agency's request for 2025 due to the addition of SGF in 2024, which will take care of the entirety of the state's portion. The governor also recommends $4.3 million, all from special revenue funds for fish and wildlife maintenance in 2025, which is a decrease of $1.5 million below the agency's FY 2025 request. This adjustment would more closely align expenditures from the Wildlife Fee Fund with projected revenues for FY 2025. And then, Madam Chair, I will note that the bottom of the page and then flipping over to the next, as you can tell from the table, the agency has many different areas in which they maintain capital improvements, and the narrative from the bottom here, capital improvement projects, flipping over to the next page, gives more detailed information on what those are and what those expenditures are for.
Questions? That's it. Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't need this now, but I'd be interested on more information about the Clinton Park project, so I can report to my constituents.
Madam Chair, Senator, I can look into that.
Other questions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee recommend the capital improvements for the Department of Wildlife and Parks for FY 24 and FY 25 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Delperding. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Our next item is Aging and Disability Services and State Hospitals. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. We'll begin on the golden sheet of paper. Toward the first portion of the page is a little bit of history on each of the state hospitals, and then the capital projects by category. So we'll begin at the bottom, fiscal year 2024 capital improvements. For 2024, the agency estimates revised expenditures totaling $18.9 million, all from the State Institutions Building Fund. This is an increase of $8.4 million SIBF above actual expenditures in fiscal year 2023. The increase is due to reappropriated funds for projects that were approved but not completed in fiscal year 2023. Primarily, these projects are the ongoing remodel of the Biddle building on Osawatomie campus, which the agency anticipates will be completed in February, and the remodel of the Spruce building on Parsons, which the agency anticipates will begin in spring of this year. In addition to the ongoing projects, the 2023 legislature approved $3.2 million SIBF to complete the agency's Priority 1 rehabilitation and repair projects in fiscal year 2024. These projects did come before the committee last year and were recommended, and they include the projects that maintain safe operation of the facilities, and they include the replacement of a chiller at Larned and repairing roadways and parking lots at Osawatomie. And the governor does concur with the revised estimate. I'd be happy to stand for questions or move on.
Can you remind me, the Biddle building? Oh, I'm trying to think of what the other buildings that are circular are called, the Adair or is that correct? Okay.
You're asking about the CMS certified?
Yeah.
That would be Adair Acute Care is the name of the CMS certified
Okay.
operation.
Why are we doing Biddle? I don't remember.
This will allow for more CMS certified beds once the project is completed.
Just keep throwing good money after bad. We tear any buildings down yet?
There are raising projects included in the budget. I can speak to those more in 2025.
Any questions, Senator Francisco?
Thank you. I'm assuming that the agency anticipates the Biddle building to be completed in February of 2024, not 2023.
Madam Chair, Senator, yes, I jumped over that year. Yes, it will be in 2024. Apologies.
Any other questions? All right, please continue.
Okay, on the same page, fiscal year 2025 capital improvements. The agency requests 12.3 million SIBF for 2025, including 2.7 million for Larned, 6.9 million for Osawatomie, 1.3 million for Parsons, and 1.4 million for Kansas Neurological Institute. These projects include their Priority 1 rehabilitation and repair projects in the 5-year capital improvement plan, as well as some enhancement requests. So in that first category, you see their Priority 2 rehabilitation and repair projects. The agency did request additional funding to fund these, and they include 2.4 million to replace the medium voltage electrical system at Osawatomie, around 800,000 to upgrade sewer mains at Kansas Neurological Institute, 700,000 to replace deteriorated water mains at Osawatomie, 700,000 to replace a chiller at Larned, and 468,000 to replace piping at Parsons. Additionally, the agency requests 650,000 SIBF to raise the Gill building and the Chestnut building. Following the raising of the Dejong and West Pavilion on Osawatomie, these are the next oldest buildings. The buildings contain asbestos insulation, asbestos floor and ceiling tile, and lead-based paint. The next enhancement request is for 1.9 million to remodel the Cottonwood Resource Building. This building was constructed in 1956, and the agency reports it has had no significant renovation since. The remodel would include sealing and tuck pointing the structure, replacing windows, implementing ADA compliant modifications, a new HVAC system, among other items you see listed there. The next item is a request for 873,000 SIBF to remodel the Special Services Building and an office area in the Miko House, both on Osawatomie campus. This involves a lot of the same renovations that would occur in the previous request. And the governor recommends expenditures totaling 12 million SIBF. This is a decrease of 280,000 below the agency's request due to the 2 enhancement requests not being recommended. However, the governor does recommend additional funding to complete all 9 raising projects. The goal would be to maximize cost savings. And I'm happy to stand for questions on 25.
Thank you. And thank you for the response of my first question. So, anybody have any question for Dayton? Senator Francisco?
Ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move that the committee recommend the capital improvements for the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services for FY 24 and 25 with corrections to the date for the anticipation of the Biddle building and changing live rates to live rats. Thank you.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Representative Owsley, seconds. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item will be the Highway Patrol. Welcome, Muriel.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Merle Riedel. I'm with Legislative Research. I'll be reviewing the capital improvements report for the Kansas Highway Patrol. And I believe that is on a blue document, second to last. The Highway Patrol is responsible for maintaining the Training Academy campus, Troop J, as well as various troop headquarters facilities across Kansas. These structures include a 70,000 square foot vehicle fleet storage facility at Billard Airport in Topeka and multiple motor carrier inspection stations with scales. Moving down on that report, going to below the table, you'll see for 2024 capital improvements, the agency submits a revised estimate of $20.5 million, all from special revenue funds for capital improvements in FY 2024. This is an increase of $17.7 million. Above the 2024 approved amount. The increase is primarily attributable to the agency's two supplemental requests totaling $17.2 million, which includes major improvements at the Troop J Training Academy and construction of a new central dispatch facility in Salina. Under the topic of Troop J Training Academy, the agency requests $8.2 million for major projects at the Training Academy. This includes a supplemental request of $7.2 million. The facility, which is the site of a former college, was acquired by the agency in 1992 and includes 5 buildings containing classrooms, auditoriums, cafeteria, dormitory, and gymnasium. In addition to training trooper cadets, the facility currently houses regional troop offices, central dispatch, and central supply. The facility is also used for trooper and dispatcher continuing education courses and made available to other organizations. The agency notes significant improvements are necessary to decrease operating costs and increase safety. The supplemental request supports 20 projects, which includes $2.2 million to replace water, plumbing, and electrical lines largely dating from the 1960s, $1.2 million to upgrade bathrooms, and $172,000 to replace a deteriorating concrete cap covering the facility's power plant and utility tunnels. Also, projects include installation of efficient lighting, HVAC system upgrades, and elevator replacements. Moving down, I would just draw your attention to troop facility major projects, so projects more than $50,000. The agency requests $927,766 for major projects at various troop facilities in 2024. This includes $400,000 for construction of a storage facility at Troop E in Garden City to house special response team equipment. Other expenditures include elevator replacement. Moving down a little bit further to the Troop I scale house repair and replacement, the agency requests $1.2 million, all from the Motor Carrier Assistance Fund, for scale house repair and replacement. A 2008 review recommended replacement of 8 motor carrier inspection stations, including scale houses, to comply with federal requirements. For FY 2024, the agency will replace the North Olathe station. Continuing on, you'll see new central dispatch facility. The agency submits a supplemental request of $10 million to construct a new central dispatch facility in 2024. Dispatch services are currently located in the basement of a building on the grounds of the KHP Training Academy in Salina. The unit provides 24-hour radio dispatching and coordinates emergency medical relays through aircraft and ground assets. The agency notes the current location is insufficient to house modern dispatching systems while supporting personnel working under intense conditions. The proposed central dispatch facility would be constructed off-site on property owned by the Kansas Department of Transportation in Salina. The request includes $5 million for construction of the structure that integrates disaster preparedness design, able to withstand disruptions caused by severe weather, $4.6 million for dispatch consoles and workstations with redundant data and communication systems, and safety and security measures that provide improved working conditions for the well-being of dispatchers. The governor concurs with the agency's capital improvements revised estimate in FY 2024. I'm happy to stand for questions or move on to FY 25 when you're ready.
24. Representative Owsley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It says a 2008 review recommended replacement of 8 motor carrier. Where are we at with that? If this scale house is part of that review recommendation, are we completing those recommendations
Would be
now?
the first scale house replaced as part of that process. I think the agency intends to replace 1 scale house per year. This would be the first scale house to be replaced.
And we are in compliance with federal requirements if we proceed with this.
If upon completion of the project, that would be within federal requirements.
Okay. A recommendation from 2008 being completed in 2024 kind of sparks me as odd, but
I think the agency would state they lacked the resource until some funds were available through the Motor Carrier Assistance Fund. They didn't have adequate resources to implement the results of that study.
as long as we're within federal requirements, I'm happy. Thank you.
Senator Clays.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Merle, I appreciate the overview. Would like to understand more, and this can come in a report later, understand more about the new Troop C on that property in South Salina. It currently contains the road course and what the impact is on the road course that's already out there. It appears that already has some space constraints, but I'm interested in what the Highway Patrol's answer to that is. Then also, since the Troop C would be moving out of, I'm assuming that Troop C is then moving out of the building that is on a hill in Tornado Alley. What's taking that space up? What's moving in there? And then on top of that, I'd also like to understand in more depth what the training capabilities will be of that road course in South Salina, and then also what the current availability is of the firing range in Northwest Saline County, its usefulness over the next 5 years. That's the firing range that is outdoor, where long guns are currently being fired in the direction of a school. If you need some assistance locating it, I'd be happy to help. And then I'd also like to understand more about what the other organizations are that are currently using the facility. It was mentioned that there are some level of partnerships there, and I'd like to know what those are.
So it's my understanding, if I remember correctly, Troop C is the KHP troop responsible for North Central Kansas.
Correct.
And it's my understanding they would not be moving off of the training academy site. They would still be using those facilities. It is the dispatch unit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the dispatch portion of that. Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
The dispatch unit's on that campus currently.
You're asking questions about where they're going to, the new site, and what's going
When
to
they go to the new site, what takes the space of central dispatch? My apologies.
Okay.
Troop C words in front of me.
And I can find out about the other organizations. My understanding, it is when we say made available, it is essentially rented out or made available for others to use for events. I don't believe that anybody is co-located in that facility or using office space, but I can.
Correct, but there are some items in there, such as the use of force simulator. There are currently 3 of those in Saline County, so I'm just curious why a county would have 3 of those in the state that has 6 of them total, and how partnerships actually exist rather than just duplicating those things. It seems we have a lot of that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I would have assumed that you had something to do with all that. So it says a new central dispatch, a new one. So do we already have a central dispatch? Okay.
Correct. Yes, Madam Chair. There is a central dispatch unit that works in the basement of a facility at the KHP Training Academy. So this would be building a new structure for them to occupy.
Which is going to be $10 million.
That is correct. $5 million for the structure, and I think about $4.6 million for equipping that structure with dispatching equipment.
And then it looks like it's coming up again in 2025 here, but we'll wait. Any other questions? Yes, Representative Delpert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Front page or page 38 lists this 632% increase above the 2024 approved amount. Do we have the 2024 approved amount anywhere? It does not show up on figure 33. That's 23 actuals, and then it goes right into what you're asking for, I guess.
Yeah, the approved amount's not reflected on the table, only the actual amount and then the amount the agency has requested and expended.
We don't really have details other than reading through it. There's nothing listed, so.
Correct. The details here relate to what the agency's asking for. Okay. The expenditures for 2024 and 2025.
Okay. Is that the normal way we do that, or is it just the way this one's done? So. Is that the normal way we do it? Or is it just the way this one came out? So
this is the standard format.
Okay. Okay, it'd be nice to have the previous figures. Thank you.
I don't see any other questions, so please continue.
All right, FY 2025 capital improvements. Looking at the bottom of page 38, the agency requests $5.7 million, all from special revenue funds for capital improvements for FY 2025. This is a decrease of $14.7 million below the FY 2024 revised estimate. The decrease is attributed to decreased expenditures for major improvements to the Troop J Training Academy and construction of the new central dispatch facility in FY 24. Those occur in 2024, but they do not reoccur in 2025. The decrease is offset by increased expenditures for the acquisition of a Troop B headquarters in Shawnee County and an aircraft hangar in Hayes. And you can see there under the troop facility major projects, the agency is requesting $948,000 for several items. I'm going to move down to the Troop B headquarters building, which is towards the left on the bottom of page 39. Troop B headquarters building, the agency submits an enhancement request of $2.3 million, all from special revenue funds, to purchase the Troop B headquarters facility in Shawnee County for FY 2025. The troop is responsible for highway law enforcement among 12 counties in northeast Kansas. The current facility, which includes offices, storage space, and warehouses, was first leased in December 2010. The lease expires soon with an optional 5-year extension. Should the agency extend the lease through 2023, it estimates rent expenditures totaling $3.5 million, not including escalator charge and insurance. The agency proposes to purchase the facility for a lesser amount of $2.3 million, which is the current appraised value. Moving on to the top of page 39 on the right, Hayes Aircraft. The request includes $1.3 million, all from special revenue funds, to purchase a newly constructed aircraft hangar at the Hayes Regional Airport. The agency currently leases a small hangar at HRA at a rate of $13,500 per year. Due to the limited space, law enforcement aircraft must be stored in a stacked configuration, which increases response time when departing and runs the risk of damage. The City of Hayes and the Hayes Regional Airport have offered to assume the cost of constructing a new hangar while ensuring compliance with federal regulations. The new facility includes additional hangar space and flight crew offices, which are not available in the current facility. The new hangar would also provide an alternate location for storage of the executive aircraft. The expenditure of $1.3 million by the agency supports project management inspection, removing of existing hangar structure and foundation, and utilities connections. State funds would not be used for construction. Upon payment, the agency would own the hangar and lease the airport property. The proposed lease would start at a rate of $6,773 in the initial year and increase to about $8,000 in later years. The governor recommends $3.5 million, all from special revenue funds, for capital improvements. This is a decrease of $2.3 million. The decrease is due to the governor not recommending purchase of that Troop B headquarters facility in Shawnee County. And Madam Chair, that completes my presentation. I can stand for questions.
Questions? Yes, Representative Alcala.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Troop B headquarters building, the funds to purchase Troop B headquarter facility in Shawnee County, is that the facility that's sitting on the MTAA property? Or would this be another location?
I believe this is in north of town on near Highway 24, but I'm not sure on the exact location. I can find out. We do have representatives from the agents here that might be able to give you some specifics.
MTAA property, and I'll explain that later on during discussion.
So you want somebody to come forward? You said that somebody's here.
Yeah.
Please come forward.
And this is Sherry Mackey, the Chief Fiscal Officer for the Highway Patrol.
Madam Chairman, thank you, and thank you for the questions from the committee. Yes, so that facility, our Troop B headquarters, is out on Highway 24. It's across from Goodyear, if you know where that's at. It is not, sir.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion. Representative Alcala.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve for discussion.
Second, have a motion and a second by Senator Francisco. Discussion. Senator or Representative Alcala.
Madam Chair, I want to know if you would allow me to vote separately on an item, and that would be the item that is the Kansas Highway Patrol Training Academy improvement for the headquarters facility that sits on the Billard Airport property. So right now, my community is at odds with MTAA, and I refuse to vote on anything that's going to put any money on that property. I understand that it's a highway patrol project building. I was part of putting that in there when I was on city council. But I am taking a stance and sending a message. I'm not lobbying anyone to vote against it. I want to vote against it, but I wonder if I can vote on that separately so I can vote on the total projects in the affirmative. Can we separate it?
Whether I've ever done this before in a budget committee meeting.
I do just want to, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I just want to clarify the KHP Training Academy is in Salina. That is not the property at the Billard Airport.
It says here, the structures include 70,000 square foot vehicle fleet storage facility at Billard Airport in Topeka.
You are correct. There is a building funded through this capital improvements program that is located on the Billard Airport.
That's what I'm talking about. And if somebody wants to know details, I can explain it now, or I'd be willing and happy to sit after the meeting and explain it to you, but I don't want to get into the minutia of it.
It's been my experience that I've never divided a budget item like that. And so what I would suggest is you could, unless you have a solution here, are you getting ready to talk? Do you want to explain it now?
I can explain it to you.
Yeah.
We've had a small business on that property for years. Hundreds of people meet there for breakfast and lunch during the day. They put out an RFP, MTAA did. The property owner applied for the RFP and was the only one that did. And so they refused them because they refused to sell liquor at that facility. And so now they redid the RFP. They did not include them in it. And this is a mom and pop business that has nowhere to go. That's their only income. It's a family that's owned it for decades. And so I am refusing to put any money in that property until that issue can get resolved. No communication back with the property owner or the business owner. They're operating, the Billard Airport is in a neighborhood. I mean, right in the center of a neighborhood. And without any communication through neighborhood improvement associations or anything, the neighborhood is in an uproar. And so I have taken the stance that I'm not going to support any funding for any agency that's on the MTA property until it gets resolved. And right now they kind of just went null and void on everyone. They tried to have meetings with them and they refused to give any detailed answers. But they finally told the property owner that she would need to sell liquor and produce, I forget how many years of financial reports from the facility. We're talking about people that have very limited education. All they've been in is in the restaurant business, and they've had that restaurant for years. And it's not a spontaneous place. If you've ever ate there, it's packed all the time. Just people that live in the neighborhood.
So what I would suggest is that you just vote no and write a minority report. And then that way it'll be attached So the people who have the budget, next time it'll be read throughout.
So we can't separate that from.
Well, I've just never done it.
Okay. Well, and I would tell you, I would vote no, and I would like for
Okay,
the
well,
record to reflect the details that I just gave right now, because I just refuse to let an organization of people that don't live in the neighborhood pick on the neighborhood.
Senator Clays.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Merle, is this already underway? Is this something that has begun in any way as far as the construction of that facility?
So the capital improvements do not include construction of any facility at the Billard Airport. There is a hangar that the KHP has built some years ago that continues to operate on that property. And so the agency is responsible for that property, but there is no construction plans for any new property in 24 or 25. I'm sorry.
Was this a lease? What exactly are they doing here?
The agency, I'm fairly certain, leases a hangar. It's the main hangar for the Highway Patrol. They lease that property on Billard Airport, and have done that for probably 10 years. And there's no change to that lease on that facility currently. So there's no supplement or enhancement request related to any KHP facility at the Billard Airport. They simply operate a hangar there.
So if we were to vote no, what would be the actual result of that?
If you were to vote no on this,
if that line item was separated out and we voted no on it, what's the practical impact of that?
I'd have to give that some thought. I'm not sure exactly what the impact would be, because it's not the lease payment for that airport or for that hangar at the Billard Airport is part of the operating expenditures for the agency. So it's not a capital improvement expenditure. They're not building a new structure or taking anything away. They just simply lease the property as part of the operating expenditures. They lease the use of that hangar.
So it would not stop the lease from occurring. There wouldn't be a payment that isn't made. Help me understand why this is in front of us.
There's no project here related to the hangar at the Billard Airport. That's not part of the capital improvements project here. The item maybe to clarify, the item on page 37, the top where we note the fleet storage facility airport, that's simply noting that is a facility that the agency is responsible to maintain. So it is not, there's no capital improvement project here related to that facility.
I see.
I think we're trying to figure out how to amend, but I'm going to recognize Representative Alcala.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator, maybe a decade and a half ago, I ran the water for this facility when I sat on City Council with Breyer Consulting Group. And they built a brand new facility there. It's more than a hangar, it's huge. They commission vehicles there, they fuel there, they do training there. The property sits on MTA, the facility sits on MTA property that they lease. So it's not, when you say hangar, you're thinking, well, just a hangar. No, it's a huge facility. It's what it is. I hope that gives you a better insight of what we're talking about.
So maybe this is a question for Representative Alcala. What are you attempting to accomplish then if you were to separate it out and vote no?
Votes from anyone, because I support the funding for Highway Patrol. But what I am saying is at this point, I'm refusing to put any money or my support behind any money for any facility or anything that's on that MTA property at Billard Airport.
Okay.
Only because there's no communication and no signs of resolution between the MTA board and the property owner at the Billard Airport or the Neighborhood Improvement Association.
I see.
But we were just trying to figure out how we could amend it. Representative Delperdane.
Okay, just a comment or question to the representative, but to me, it sounds like a conflict of interest. So do you just vote present based on that?
I'll vote. If we can't separate it, I'll vote no and ask the minister to reflect my statements.
Okay, because I fully respect and honor what you're trying to do there, but I
don't want to dilute it to where
Right.
I'm not against any other projects, but I am taking a stance on on that project.
Well respected. Thank you.
And you could write a minority report.
I could do that.
Yeah, and that way it would be read by more people as well.
But I would vote no and ask the minutes to reflect. And if anybody wants to visit with me, it's from the department can. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Any other discussion? All right, entertain a motion. Well, you can raise your hand.
You have the motion in a second.
Oh, did get it. Yes, sir. Thank you. I thought you had said you had a question. Okay. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those, or any discussion, we've had it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Yes, and your vote recorded. Okay, thank you. All right, next item is Department of Transportation. Does somebody come in this room at 1, Shirley? No? Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, I will be talking about the Kansas Department of Transportation. That is on the tan sheet in your packet. Looking at the bottom of page that's numbered page 29. The agency submits a revised estimate of $48.4 million, all from the State Highway Fund for capital improvements for buildings in FY 2024. This is an increase of $23.9 million above the 2024 approved amount. The increase is primarily attributed to construction of the District 1 headquarters in Topeka. Moving down, you can see that the agency is requesting $5.9 million for rehabilitation and repair for FY 2024. For re-roofing projects, the agency requests $785,000 for re-roofing projects at 9 locations. You can see a list of those locations. Sub-area modernizations, the agency requests $14.5 million for sub-area modernization at 4 locations. Sub-area facilities were constructed in the 1950s and 60s, and these facilities are insufficient to accommodate modern equipment such as dump trucks outfitted with snow plows and salt spreaders. Under land purchase, the agency requests $500,780 for the purchase of land in FY 2024. The land is primarily supports or improve KDOT operations and includes requests for lands along highways to provide area to mix and store maintenance material, land adjacent to current KDOT facilities to allow expansion of storage and operations, and land to relocate KDOT facilities for safety and effectiveness. You can see the 3 locations for land purchase include Erie, Lyons, Topeka. Chemical storage facility, the agency requests $729,246 for construction of 1,000 ton salt storage facilities. The Gage sub-area in Topeka and Pratt in 2024. Moving to the right, area shop bay extension, electrical updates. The agency requests $1.7 million to extend bays and update electrical systems at area shops. The project extends bays by 30 feet and adds overhead exit doors affording drive-through access. A 3-ton overhead rail crane will be installed to provide lift capabilities. The project will also consolidate electrical systems from different portions of the shop and building and update main service panels to 800 amp 3-phase 208 volt service. Moving down to District 1 headquarters construction, the agency requests $24.2 million to construct a new District 1 headquarters in Topeka in FY 2024. The project was approved by the 2023 Legislature and completion is estimated for summer of 2025. Moving down towards the bottom, construction in 2024 includes a 32,000 square foot maintenance shop and a 14,000 square foot administrative building on KDOT property at Southwest 21st Street and Rice Road near the I-70 interchange in East Topeka. Future plans include relocating the District 1 material lab to this site in the out years. The governor concurs with the agency's revised estimate for capital improvements in 2024. Madam Chair, I can stand for questions or move on to 2025.
Why are we rebuilding District 1 headquarters?
The current District 1 headquarters, which is located in Kansas, is a building that was built largely in the 1930s. I think 1934 with some additional changes to it. The main challenge is it also is unable to store some of the large dump trucks with salt spreaders. The problem is that's located in the middle of Topeka. It's tough to get as I understand, to get the vehicles into this facility and out of this facility. So this would be located on the east side of Topeka, on the outskirts of town.
Representative Alcala.
Madam Chair, so this also is in my district, and sometimes those vehicles are having to be left out. The doors are just so narrow that the vehicles don't fit in there. It's in an area that's, I think it's probably zoned industrial, but there's a lot of storage businesses there for materials and construction, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Please continue.
On page 31, 2025 capital improvements, the agency requests $12.5 million, all from the State Highway Fund for capital improvements for buildings in 2025. Rehabilitation and repair, the agency requests $5.2 million for rehabilitation and repair. Re-roofing buildings, the agency requests $659,080 for re-roofing projects at 8 locations. You can see a list of those locations. Again, we have sub-area modernization, continuing that effort, $4.6 million for sub-area modernization. Chemical storage facilities, the agency requests $285,133 for construction of a salt storage facility in Osage City. An area shop bay extension updates and electrical updates. The agency requests $1.8 million to continue those extensions and electrical shop updates. Madam Chair, the governor concurs with the agency's request for FY 2025.
Questions on 25? Senator Reddy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question about the salt storage units. There was one request for 1,000 ton, but the request was for like $280,000, and another one was for like $600,000 or $400,000. I can't find my numbers right. Oh, one for the one in Gage sub area in Topeka was for $729,000 for the 1,000 ton salt, whereas the other one was closer to 200 some odd thousand. Why is there such a massive difference
Yeah,
for two of them?
correct. So those in 2024, those would be storage locations in Topeka and Pratt. And 2025, it is just one location.
And in Pratt. Sorry, I didn't read that correctly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, any other questions? I entertain a motion. Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee approve the capital improvements for the Kansas Department of Transportation for FY24 and FY25 as presented.
I have a motion. I have a second. Second by Representative Delberdang. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Our last item is the Kansas Bureau of Investigation.
Yes, Madam Chair, you should all have a memo follow-up information that the agency provided. We do have representatives from the agency here today that can provide any clarification on that memo if the committee would like. You can see on that second paragraph, the committee asked them to respond to a couple different things, asked them to provide additional information on the roles of the partner organizations and their contributions to the projects, plans for architectural design work, estimates regarding operating costs, and estimated interest rate on the bond. You'll see in their response, partner organizations include Pittsburgh State, Crawford County Sheriff, City of Pittsburgh, Attorney General, Highway Patrol, and the U.S. Marshal Services. Pittsburgh State is the largest partner in the project. Crime Center would be owned on land maintained by Pittsburgh State. Pittsburgh State would also provide the security for that site. So the police department emergency dispatch would be a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week presence on the service. PSU intends to utilize the training and classroom space. And the city of Pittsburgh has agreed to provide $84,000 in economic development money for preliminary architectural studies. On the next page, you can see PGAV Architects is retained by the city of Pittsburgh to develop to develop some of those initial architectural plans. Operating costs were based off of those experience with the Forensic Science Center here in Topeka. Proportional cost per square foot was used when analyzing expenditures of the new facility. They estimate ongoing operational costs of $649,155, which includes 1 FTE for janitorial services. And then item 4, the estimated interest rate for that bond is 4.3% for the 20-year bond. That's an estimate provided by the Kansas Development Finance Authority. So again, the construction costs would be $40 million. And if that is bonded for the 20-year period, that would be a total cost of I think it's 21.5 million for bonding.
Any questions? And this will be attached to the committee that would have, this would be the KBI committee. Because we're doing all these before it. Well, this says KBI. So will this, oh, okay. So will this be attached? That's what I'm saying. Will they say these are the questions the building committee asked?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so they would have this information. Okay. Any questions? Senator Francisco. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, then do you want to make a motion so we can get done with this?
I move we ask for the letter from the Kansas Bureau of Investigation regarding the proposed KBI Regional Crime Center on Pittsburgh State University's campus to be attached to the committee's report.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say. So, seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the capital improvement budget.
Oh no, that's what I was doing. You just wanted the letter. I thought you were kind of saying and attached the report to the budget. So I thought you were making a motion on the budget. No? No. Approve the budget with the letter attached. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'd like to revise my motion to make it to approve the budget, capital improvements budget for the Kansas Bureau of Investigation for FY 24 and 25, and attach the letter of information to that budget.
Motion second. Discussion.
Can I just clarify that's as the governor's recommended? Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. Senator Reddy. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Shirley, anything else? Absolutely not. Okay. And we don't have any, we're finished with our work until we have Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was caught a little bit off guard yesterday when we talked about the post-secondary education system-wide, and was wondering if staff could ask for some more information on the project at 11th and Mississippi by KU. It talks about the goals to develop a multipurpose venue with entertainment functions, retail dining, healthcare services, and more. And I'm wondering if those facilities are for the students or more general. And I ask this because they're talking about dining across the street from the student union that has dining facilities.
So you'll email that to the entire committee? Okay. All right. Well, we are adjourned for lack of a quorum.